Today on the podcast, we are learning the difference between a band and a brand and how branding yourself can help you cut through the noise on social media and find more fans. We'll see you on the inside. What's going on, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for swinging by. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time here, I'd like to say a special thanks to you. Welcome. This is the Songwriters Podcast. My name is Mike. I am the creator of the Songwriters Planner, as well as this podcast. The Songwriters Planner is a 6-month planner that is a written planner, and it is meant to help inspire, create productivity, and just get you more motivated and excited about your music. I started this podcast to kind of accentuate and help singer-songwriters, musicians be more productive, tips and advice on things on navigating this modern social musical world that we live in. So thank you everybody for joining. I also wanted to mention that this podcast is on Spotify and iTunes, as well as my YouTube channel. If you are watching it here, I'd like to hit you with all dimensions, and hopefully you find one of these fun and exciting. So today's episode is, I really wanted to talk about branding and this whole thing where we have branding and music kind of coming together, brands and musicians and bands coming together. It's not a new concept. It's certainly not new. There's artists in the past who have reached this level of branding. But the reason why I wanted to talk about it, a little bit about it today, is because it has never been a more easier time, or I should say more capable time, of musicians and artists to create themselves as a brand instead of just a band or just an artist. It is very, very, very possible to do it yourself now because of the internet, because of the fact you can create your own content like videos, you can do podcasts, you can do blogs. These are things that now we have access to as artists that we can create in addition to our music. It doesn't, believe it or not, it doesn't always have to be about, here's my new music, here's my new album, go download my new single, go watch my new, video. It can be much more than that. And that is the opportunity that we have as artists and musicians to create a brand around our music. And why is branding so important? Well, I'm sure that if you are in a music scene and you have been doing music, or you follow musicians, and you probably hear that branding is a thing that's coming up, where you should try to concentrate on being a brand. But why is it so important? Okay. The reason why everybody's talking about being a brand and all this kinds of stuff is because if you have this kind of momentum, let's say people know you as much more than just your music, it helps you cut through a lot of the social media noise and a lot of promotional noise that you see out there. I mean, you've got to notice how hard it is and how difficult it is to establish yourself as someone that is worth coming to pay money to come see, to come to your live shows or listen to your music on Spotify and iTunes. It's really hard to get people to find you. Now, I'm not talking about the fans you currently have, or I'm not talking about your close friends and family. They already support you. But to really break through and become something larger, you need to find new fans, people who don't know who you are. And branding helps with this. Branding helps you because you become more than just another artist who's saying, please listen to my single, please listen to this. You become more than that. And that, believe it or not, gives you an advantage over other artists who all they do is focus on the sale and focus on getting the audience to do something that they're asking them to do. Branding is much more than that. Branding is a part of, you're not just asking people to listen to your music, but you're giving them value. You're sharing information with them. You're sharing things that entertain them. You're sharing stories about yourself. You're sharing things that inspire you. You're making it bigger than just making it about you and your music. And why is that so effective? Well, the reason why that's so effective is because everybody always makes it about their music. A lot of artists, the majority of us today, what we do when we post on social media is, here's our new album. Come check us out. Come to our show. And there's nothing wrong with doing that at all. I mean, that's what we have to do, But if that's all you do and everybody else is doing that, What is going to make you cut through? What's going to make people find out who you are? And these are the people that don't know who you are. What's going to make them find you? Is it just going to be you saying, come to my show? Well, they're getting asked by tons of other people to do the same thing. Okay. So becoming a brand is becoming something more, becoming an entity that people can latch onto, that they believe in, and that they trust. And it's not just about the music, it's about belonging to something or trusting in something that's bigger than that. Now, it sounds great, right? It sounds awesome. Yes, if we could all do that, that would be awesome. The tricky thing with branding is that it's not easy to become that to someone in the eyes of people. It takes work, okay? And the reason why I think that a lot of artists and a lot of bands don't approach it in this way is because A, it's not a traditional way of getting your music heard. I mean, you're trying to build something without marketing your music. So it's very untraditional for artists and musicians to take on this kind of responsibility themselves. It's tricky. Not everybody is great at becoming and making something bigger than themselves, aside from just the music. It's tricky to do. So I think that with these reasons, it's not in our nature, or at least our first nature, to start marketing ourselves and to start spreading ourselves like this out to fans and trying to find fans in this kind of way. Outside of writing and creating music, what are the other ways that you can accentuate your music or your talent or what you have to offer people? And so it's not easy to do. And I think that's why a lot of artists and bands don't really look at it that way. And we stay within our traditional write songs, play shows, and try to gain fans that way. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that at all. In this day and age, I mean, even this year, 2019, that's how we still do it. But we do have more opportunities and more avenues on how to build ourselves bigger than just that. And that's why branding is so important. That's why I feel it's so important. That's why I think the industry, the DIY industry, the independent musician, has kind of embraced this idea that the way to go is to become to approach it more as if you are a brand as opposed to a band. Okay, so hope you guys are following me on this and kind of keeping an open mind about what it is to brand yourself. I know that branding kind of has this stigma attached to it. Well, it's marketing. Branding is marketing. Branding is corporate entities and stuff like that. That could be farthest from the truth. Those corporate entities and places like Walmart and Amazon, they use branding to their advantage. That's why they become a brand, because they know it helps them cut through the competition. And when you're that size, and if you don't have any kind of branding available, or you're not focusing on becoming a bigger entity, a bigger brand, you're going to get lost in the shuffle. And that's what I think musicians and artists and bands should do, is borrow from these corporations, borrow what they are doing, borrow the tactics that they use. And I'm not talking about, marketing tactics or stuff, but look at what they're doing, look at how these corporate entities and stuff, how they reach out, what do they do for the community? What are they known for? What kind of values do they have? What is it that makes you want to go to this specific store and buy their product? What is it? Because you can buy, a widget A at any store. You can get it at Target, you can get it at Walmart, you can get it, whatever. What makes you go to a specific store? Okay, so think about it in that way. What's going to make a fan go to your show on a Friday night when there are tons of other shows that they could possibly go to? What is going to make you stand out from that? What are you going to do so they invest in you mentally, emotionally, not just financially, but those are other things. What's going to make you set apart? Okay. So let's talk about a couple things you can do to help create a path to branding for yourself, and specifically more, online with your marketing efforts. What can you do as an artist in a band to get started? How do you get going in this? Okay, so let's take a look at the first one here. Like I mentioned, you want to post on social media, and you want to spread to, whether you're running an ad or whether you're trying to reach new people. You want to post more than just your music. You want to be more than just an online flyer, because there's online flyers everywhere. You want to separate yourself from that. How about posting stuff that has nothing to do with you, but stuff that you're interested in? You like hiking? Post some hiking articles, and then say why this is inspiring to you, or why this maybe had helped you write a song or something like that. Share yourself with your fans, share yourself with potential fans, and kind of get outside of the box of just promoting you and your music. Do you like pizza? Do you like making pizzas? How about you share some articles about making pizzas, or your top 10 favorite pizza chains or pizza restaurants in your town? Like, that's cool stuff that I think fans will look at and go, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, that's pretty neat. Like, he's sharing, or they're sharing their lives with us. I'm pretty interested in that. I mean, how many bands do those kinds of things on a consistent basis? So start with doing that. Start getting into the mentality of reaching outside the circle and not just having it be about your music. So start doing that. And I would say to start off, do 60-40. 60% shared content or shared ideas, 40% you and your music. Try that. Try that for the week, okay? And see and post every day. Post every day, something every day. You don't have to post multiple times a day, but try to post something at least every day that follows the 60-40 model. I would even say maybe 70-30. 70 shared stuff, 30% you and your music, believe it or not. As much as we all love to get our music out there, it really helps if you add some kind of value to the people that are checking you out. And if you keep doing that, they will share your content, and therefore more eyes will get on it, and people that you could never imagine would start seeing your stuff. So start with doing that, and that'll help get you into the mentality of being more of a brand as opposed to just a band. Another thing you can do is identify what's your message. What are you about? What is your music about? Who are you as a person? And post online things that echo that out. Do you have a certain cancer benefit that you support? Share something like that. Do something that supports your message as an artist or as a band. Do you like whiskey? Post whiskey art, how to make the best Jack and Coke, that kind of stuff. But just keep it centered and keep it centered to yourself, and build upon a theme, a single theme that you can build around. And what you're doing is you're creating a pillar for your brand, and people will start to know you for it. People will start to realize what you're about because you're centered. You're centered on an idea. You're centered on a theme. Your music comes from this. You believe in this. This is what fuels you, and this is what you're going to share with the world. So come up with a theme, a centered pillar, like I said, and build upon that on social media. It's only going to help you, and it also takes the focus off just your music. It puts it on your ideals as a person and who you are in the center. Okay. All right. What else we got here? Probably the next tip is one of the most difficult, and that is be consistent with your message. Be consistent with it and be patient with it, because being consistent, people will start to realize if you stay consistent with your message and you post every day and you put work into building up yourself as a brand, people will be able to rely on you. They will know you're a consistent entity. And what you do is you always post something around your theme, and they can start to depend on that, and they start looking for that. And that is it's the hardest to do, but is probably the most valuable idea to building a brand, is to be consistent over time. And it's really difficult because consistency over time can be hard, especially in a creative situation. If you're in a band and things aren't going well, or your shows aren't going well, it's hard to be excited and stay consistent about this stuff. But you have to do that if you really want to separate yourself and let people know that you are more of a brand as opposed to just someone playing music. So the way that you can stay consistent is schedule ahead of time. Schedule things that you want to post, schedule it ahead of time so you're not reaching and struggling to try and find something. Oh my God, I got to find something that is my center. I got to post something that is me. Like if you stay ahead of your schedule, you'll never panic, and you won't get off track. You won't lose time. Staying ahead of schedule is super important, and it helps with your consistency. Stay a week ahead of yourself. Can you plan out the next week, the week prior? Try doing that. Try staying a week ahead of you. Go with the weekly schedule. Stay ahead of yourself. Know what you're going to be planning next week. Know what you're going to be posting to people, what you're going to be sharing with them. and when to drop your actual advertisements for your shows. Like I said, 60-40, 70-30, somewhere around there. But in the meantime, schedule it so that you don't get caught and you're not there going, God, I don't know what to post today, or I don't know what to share with people, or I don't have any stories to tell. What should I do? That kind of stuff. Stay consistent with it and stay ahead of schedule. Let's see. Engage with your fans online. Make sure you talk to them. If they're commenting on you, comment back. Say, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the feedback. Stay away from the kind of comments where you're like, oh, cool, thanks. Come check me out at this show. Or cool, you want to hear more? Go download my Spotify, iTunes albums. Stay away from that stuff. Just be friendly, be happy, be engaging, be funny. Don't try to sell yourself. Your actual presence online and communicating and engaging is your selling point. It's not you going, buy my album, go check me out on Spotify. That kind of stuff gets shut down so quickly these day and age because everybody's hitting you up to do it. Be the different voice. Be the voice that doesn't do that. Okay, I guarantee you're going to catch people's attention more if you are the opposite, if you're the voice that provides value, is funny, is engaging, is responsive, is consistent, those kinds of things. That's what's going to give you the best results, at least with online presence and engaging with people. So remember to do that as well. And most of all, just be patient. Be patient. It takes time. It's going to take time for you to build up a reputation and a brand, along with you putting out music and playing shows, whatever your situation is. You're already doing those things and you're building fans that way. But if you really want to separate yourself, where you have an online entity and you're doing shows and people can see you live, that's the magic of building a brand around what you're doing. So be patient when you're doing that. It's going to take time. It could take a couple years before you get to the point where you feel comfortable and you go, wow, I do have something here. I do have an established fan base. They know me as this person who is centered in on this. They know my music. They know the consistent message that I post online, and they respond to me. They engage. I engage back. That's where you want to be. That's the beginnings, the underpinnings of becoming more of a brand instead of just another artist. So it's all about separating yourself. Separate yourself from the other artists that are just salespeople. Okay, separate yourself so that when people come through your posts or they see you out in the scene, they go, oh, it's like they feel like they know you. Okay, because you're very active online. You're very active at your shows, and you just have this 360-degree branding / marketing / presence about yourself that people will gravitate to. And if you can do that by separating yourself from other people, that's going to give you a really big advantage when you post something, or when it's time for you to actually make the sale, that people will listen to you and people will recognize it because you've been putting all this other work in to give them value, to entertain them, to engage with them. That's the secret. That's the message that you want. That's the game plan, so to speak, that we should all focus on as artists. And don't just make it about your music, make it about you. Make it about, and not just about you, but make it about your fans. Ask them what they want. Ask them about their interests. Ask them where's the best Philly cheesesteak restaurants in wherever your town is. That kind of stuff. Engage with them. Ask them. Make them feel wanted and make them feel appreciated. That's going to help even more. And that's what's going to differentiate you from every other band and every other artist out there, that all they're trying to do is sell you on something. It's just really difficult to cut through that noise if you are doing the exact same thing that everybody else is doing. You may have great songs, you may have a great look. That's all great and awesome. But the higher you get, the more fans you get, the higher your level goes. You're going to run into bands that are just as good and just as good looking and write just as good songs as you. What's going to separate you from them? Okay? What's going to separate you from the potential fans that could go to that band or your band? What's going to be the difference if you guys are equals? Branding is going to be your biggest weapon towards that and your biggest tool in your toolbox. Okay? Feel free to hit me up about this. I'm very passionate about building a brand, helping musicians kind of learn more about branding themselves. And as always, I'd love to hear your feedback too. So hit me up, Mike at songwritersplanner.com. And I really appreciate you guys joining me today. Check me out on Spotify and iTunes. And I'll see you at the next podcast. All right? Peace and love.